Hello, and welcome to another series of Shine Like a North Star. I am Carrie Burchill and the president of North Star Coaching. More importantly, I'm in the throes of redesigning my studio here. So I used to have a pretty painting back there, and luckily, I'm getting some advice from some fellow streamers that are like the paintings, competing with you and too busy. And so next couple of times, which will probably be an evolution as I figure out what the best backdrop is, you'll see some different things behind me. And this is really about the leadership work that we're all doing, right? It isn't a home run, a one fell swoop, one answer does it all. We try some things and we move some furniture around and we figure it out, right? With the help of each other. And that's really the premise of my company, North Star Coaching, which is helping people slow down to go fast. And that's part of our discussion today when we think about firm, friendly, fair. So all of these series are really inspired by my real life interactions coaching leaders as they slow down to go fast and achieve their ambitious results. So recently I was just chatting with another leader about how they wanted to show up. The person had been in place for a fair amount of time and certainly successful, and thinking through, what's my evolution as a leader. So if you've ever found yourself in those reflective moments, give me a yes in the chat. Just let me know that, hey, I've done that deep dive to figure out how I want to show up. Bet all of us have at some point. And so this leader was really processing some of that deep dive and thinking through, where, which situational leadership style do I use in which context, right? Sometimes we're transactional or relational or transformational or whatever the situation demands. And she was really reflecting on how sometimes, you have to be like a tough nut, a little bit edgy. And so as we talk through that, I remembered the military saying from decades ago: firm, friendly, and fair. So as we think about those three words and how it relates to your own identity as a parent, as a friend, as a leader, let's talk through how you show up to be firm, friendly, and fair. And you'll notice none of those words is mean or skeptical or mistrusting or gossipy or all the other stories that leaders sometimes have behind their backs. It's about being firm, friendly, fair. So think about something that you've encountered recently in your life. Maybe it was a kid that wouldn't go to bed on time. We're starting the summer months. Maybe it was a kid that wouldn't wake up on time. Maybe it's a colleague at work who is not really meeting their potential. Maybe it's someone who's come back from furlough. They're frustrated with their environment. Their job isn't the same because COVID has shifted things, and they're not where we need them to be. Right? What does firm look like when you need to help those people get on board, get in the circle? We've talked about some of these analogies in our future sessions or past sessions. We're going to probably keep talking about them in the future too, because these are seminal to leadership, right? Getting people in the circle. So firm needs to be really clear on what it is that you expect from people. Invariably, we massage relationships. We on the outside might connect easier with someone than the other person. I had someone just today actually give me some really good feedback where I was like, hey, so and so, really looking forward to hearing your voice. How are things going? Blah, blah, blah. And the person was saying, like, if you didn't understand our relationship, that might look a little familiar or maybe even intimate. And it was a good conversation because I thought, yeah, like if I was like super chatty and friendly with only one person on my WebEx or Zoom call and not the others, then I could look like I have favorites, right? So that, challenge someone with stretching them, but being friendly with someone else doesn't look firm. It looks like wishy washy. So think about how you show up and where the firm piece is in your expectations. So this colleague today was giving me feedback around some colloquial language that I'd used with him in an email, and he was saying, like, that's not the expectation of how I want this relationship to be defined. Good call. Like, I hadn't even thought of it, right? We've been working for years, and just quickly flying off an email invite, and it was just a little too casual. Great feedback. Thank you. Right? That's firm. That's not mean. That's not poking at me. That's like helping me stretch and keep me on my toes, right? You want me to show up well. Thank you. So firm is about expectations. Friendly is the way you do it. So this colleague said to me today, listen, as we wrap up this whatever meeting we had, I want to talk about something that's a little sensitive. Oh, okay. So he was friendly about it. He was clear. He framed it in a really helpful way. And we finished the meeting and even went back to it at the end again, just for another second to kind of flesh out any last minute ideas. So friendly doesn't have to be smooth, right? Leaning into the real work that we have as leaders and being consistent over time to build that trust is about having clear expectations that are not wavering. It's about approaching those expectations in a friendly way. I'm here to support you. I'm doing this because it's the right work. Like let's get on the same page. And then fair is being fair given that person's talents, their resources, what they bring to the table, how long they've been at the table, those kinds of things. So we want to think through as leaders how we foster that accountability in light of this great historic military saying of firm, friendly, and fair. So take a moment as we do this Shine Like a North Star tonight and think about something, an interaction that you've had virtually with anyone on firm, friendly, fair. So I've talked before about moving to San Antonio, falling in love with the city. Awesome. So neighbors came over last night spontaneously, and I said, "Well, we're just about to eat dinner. Like, let's all eat dinner together." And so we were really firm on this is, what happens when you come. Leave your shoes on. No, leave your shoes on. We don't care, right? We were firm on everyone's going to pitch in to create these real spontaneous, friendly neighborhood dinners. I don't want to be stuck in the kitchen sweating to death. Like we're all going to pitch in because it's like a big family now. We've got these neighbors that we connect really well with, right? So that's the firm part. Friendly is our super casual interaction with them, right? We're hearing about each other's day. We're taking turns talking about our day as we eat dinner together. And fair is having realistic expectations. Not beyond, they don't cook. I'm not expecting going over there for dinner. It might happen, but I'd be surprised, right? Fair is them being grateful, and they were. And I'm grateful that they come over because it's cheaper than the four of us going out for dinner. And I think we should, just all kind of manage our resources as we transition. You know how expensive moving is, right? So firm, friendly, fair can be as high level in your reflections as talking with my neighbors coming over for a spontaneous dinner, or it can be a little bit more serious, thinking through interactions you have with your colleagues or your spouses around the expectations, like what is firm. Feel free to push back that, realistic expectations. So if you're giving clear feedback and it's firm, then you need to understand where that comes from, not from a place of anger, not from a reactive space, but really, this is not a new standard that we have in the house or at work. Therefore, I'm calling it out because this is the expectation. It's firm. It doesn't vacillate, right? The friendly part is I'm not going to suddenly be disappointed with you because you didn't do your stuff. I still believe in you. I still believe that you can get caught up. I'm going to be firm that you do get caught up, and I'm going to be friendly in how I approach you. It's not passive aggressive. I'm not calling you out to put you down. I'm still being like, hey, I'm going to grab coffee. Do you want one? Doesn't, I'm going to be the same, right? That's the friendly side. And then fair is in a work or even spouse situation, is the other person set up for success? Have you been fair in the timeline you've given the person, in the responsibilities, helping them prioritize, all those kinds of things? So as a leader, there's some pause tonight when we think through our leadership identity and how we show up. We don't want to bump around and show up differently. We want to be able to pull out different tools to show up consistently so people can consistently expect the same character out of you. You may be situational in that you're pulling a transactional strategy out or a transformational strategy or a communication to everybody or a visionary statement or how you strategize around things. Whatever the leadership skill is, no matter what comes out of that, you're going to follow up by being firm, friendly, and fair because that's who you are. It's not sometimes, I'm not sure how to trust that leader because they may have a trigger and they might have a quick response, or they might be really warm one day buying us all donuts, or they might be this and that. No, they always want to know that you're going to be even keeled around some character traits that you really value. So tonight's really giving some thought to the military adage of firm, friendly, and fair. See how you fit in that as you reflect on your shine like a North Star. So I'd love you to say if you're watching this on replay, catch your comments. I respond and read to all the comments. I would also love to know other topics that you're sort of ruminating on. You know, the world is continually responding to COVID, but opening up in the same breath, right? U.S. and Canada in particular are opening up their borders. Things are shifting. Companies are starting to have more in-person meetings, and they're not going to be the same. So let's talk about some leadership discussions that you would like to have on Shine Like a North Star. Put them in the chat. If you have some things that you're kind of ruminating on and you're curious about, let's hear it. And we'll chime those in and put them in our sequence of Tuesday night at 6 o'clock Central. And until then, join my YouTube, get involved in LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook. I'd love to stay connected with you. Have a great night, everybody, and be safe.